Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the SCS Season 5 Open Qualifier number 1. Still got a couple more in the future. We do have some different casters at the very least. I am Lynx, joined by CDAPS. And CDAPS, what's it looking like today for the Open Qualifiers? We've had a couple now. What's the lay of the land looking like?
You know, this is kind of the last day of the first qual. You know, top 10 teams are going to automatically punch their ticket and go into closed quals, duke it out in the slums across a bunch of really strong and competitive teams. But this is kind of what we're going to be doing with this stream, the main stream here at SCS, is we're going to be putting a lot of the decider maps. Pretty much all of the games we're going to be covering are really high stakes, kind of a lose and you're kind of done. There's not really a whole lot you can do. You're going to have to start looking towards the next qualifier date in just a couple of weeks. And the first one we have coming up are two teams with 2 losses apiece. It's Survey Corps versus Aggro.
Yep, Aggro versus Survey Corps. If you want to actually check out some of the write-ups on a couple teams, either SCS does have a blog, it's SCS5.com. They actually did a bit of a write-up. I guess we did a bit of a write-up. I didn't write it, but we're part of SCS
part of
now.
the culture. We're repping the culture.
We're part of the culture that is Storm Competitive Series. But they did release an article talking about teams that were looking like they had a shot, and Aggro was a bit on the lower tier of that list. They still had a chance, as does Survey Corps, but Survey Corps not looking as hot. In the Swiss placings right now, Aggro is 12th, Survey Corps at 19. Now, they obviously both have tie points, but as CDAPS adequately put it, whichever team loses here, in all likelihood and probably guaranteed, not going to make it to Season 5. So whichever person comes out on top of this, they still have a hill to climb, but whoever loses this, their hopes are pretty much dashed.
Yeah, pretty much the way we like to think about it with the Swiss system is, sure, it's going to come down to how other teams play, how other teams get X many wins, Y many losses. Pretty much, though, 7 is your magic number that nearly confirms yourself. You want to get to 7 wins, or that pretty much punches your tickets. You get 8 wins. That's like a 99.99% chance.
We have
you get 9 wins, then you're just kind of flexing on everybody and you're doing it. 6 and 3, that's where there's the really big line.
Yeah.
That is, maybe there's going to be 1 or 2 teams out of 10 that have 6 and 3. Then you have all the implications with tiebreakers, round differential, head-to-head, and all of that hecticness that will come out, and you can't really predict exactly where you're going to fall. So if you want to control your own destiny, get to 7 wins. That's what you're pushing for. And that means by getting 3 losses, that you pretty much the best you can come out if you win out will be 6 wins. That's just not the position that you want to be in. Both of these teams are going to be fighting to avoid that.
Yeah, if you want to keep an eye out on some of those teams who might be in that category for getting those 7 potential wins, we have, our top 3 right now, Project Neo, Synthetic, and Honor. Then alongside other teams like Wichita Wolves and Gatekeepers, a lot of teams that people know either from SCS or outside of SCS. Those probably won't be streamed as much just because of, 1, how many times those teams have been streamed, and 2, how well they are doing. They're, in all likelihood, probably going to make it in unless something goes horribly wrong. But those are just some of the teams you want to keep your eyes out on, as those are kind of that top 5, top 10 situation. But with Aggro and Survey Corps right here, we will be going to the map of Clubhouse. And if you aren't familiar with the rosters, on the side of Aggro, we have Asian, Ashen, Silent, Snorin, and Kix. Some names that I've heard of but haven't seen, quite a lot. But then on the Survey Corps, we have a lot more names that I'm sure if you've been around the T3 scene for a while, you are quite familiar with. Pixel, Acts, Lava, Rift, Spiff, especially Acts and Rift both being on that Joe Academy roster that later went on to become DGen, the team that beat PogChamp and ESA. Acts specifically being on that roster.
That game was so good.
Say what you want about that series, whether or not the teams were truly trying their best or whatnot, it was still a good series. It's still an impressive feat for DGen to beat PogChamp in that way. And Axe being on that team, he's an amazing player, so definitely one of the players you're going to want to keep your eye on Survey Corps. But then again, they're really good, but if Survey Corps lose here, that's it. No more Acts, no more Lava. That's it. This will be their hopes completely gone. But we will be getting into the match just in a second. I say just in a sec. We're switching to it right now. We're about to get into it. Clubhouse, once again. CDAPS, how do you think this is going to go? We didn't have much time to get into predictions, but Survey Corps v Aggro, how do you think they're going to match up?
We've already seen Aggro play once on Clubhouse, I believe against Gatekeepers. It was early on in the tournament. It was the first time Aggro had been played on stream. They played against Wichita Wolves, as my wonderful producer, Peter Ferme Nightingale, whispered into my ear very suggestively. But at that, Aggro looked pretty strong. It was a lot more competitive a game than a lot of people would have liked to give credit for Aggro, considering Wichita Wolves, they've been ingrained in the scene for so long, especially here at SCS. They were just kind of written off. And Aggro played really well. They looked very strong, and I think that they're going to continue that momentum pushing forward, knowing that Clubhouse is, as I like to call it, the great equalizer of maps. It's the most neutral playing ground, and on a best-of-1 series, it's where you're going to have the most competition. Everybody knows how to play Clubhouse on the attacking side as well as the defense, so just whoever's the better team typically comes out on top.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Clubhouse being that great equalizer. Best of ones are as well. You know, you can always say for best of threes that conventionally the better team will usually come out on top, but best of ones, it really does equalize the chances in a lot of way. Any team, if they just get a few lucky rounds, can come out on top. And if it goes to max OT, just one round can make the difference. But in terms of bans, not a whole lot of different things going on. Hibana, Thatcher both being taken out, especially given the recent patch. Hibana makes sense, incredibly strong, especially on this map. But the Cade does interest me a bit. The only time we usually see him get banned is when both Maverick and Thatcher are banned, because those are the only two who could cut through an Electric Claw. But Maverick's still in play. Aggro still decided to get that Cade off the board. You know, still not a bad ban by any means. Cade, very powerful operator. Valkyrie as well, Survey Core following up, makes a lot of sense. But I don't know, seeing that Cade ban instead of, say, you know, a Wamai, for example, sure doesn't have the shield, but still very powerful on sites like Garage. It's a curious decision, but maybe it's more of a comfort ban, just something they don't want to deal with.
Yeah, especially in a best-of-1 or even in a qualifier on a grander kind of scale of things, is you don't want to throw many variables into the equation or else it just gets too complicated. I highly doubt either of these teams have had the time to really scout each other and understand, like, okay, they do X, Y, and Z on these maps. We need to counter ban. We need to do things. They're just going to fall back on your comfortable picks. Make sure that your attacks are just like your dry runs. You feel comfortable. You understand that teams are going to do basic default strats unless they have something crazy in their back pocket, like potentially Survey Cores with the Mira pick that Rift is currently rocking, as well as the inclusion of the Melusi. There's a lot of stall potential, a lot of bulletproof utility, also with the Maestro bubbles being protected by Axe Jaeger ADSs. There's still a little bit of drone denial, but most likely Pixel brought the mute more for making the aggro attackers work a little bit extra, lurk a little bit more, get some downstairs pressure in order to remove that jammer off of the CCTV wall. Because I don't know about you, I'd be willing to put some money on the fact that they'll probably try to breach plat. I think that that's sort of a common. I'll put money on it.
I haven't watched Clubhouse a lot, but that plat wall really does seem to. It seems to be a big factor in a lot of those different attacks. And I mean, with any given Clubhouse, well, any given CCTV Clubhouse attack, your 3 points of contact are always typically going to be, you know, that construction wall, garage, and plat wall. Especially those latter two tend to be the biggest amount of engagements. But with the way things are lining up right now, two already rotated over to CC window. Well, I was about to say maybe we could be seeing a rush, but no. Snort will just jump right on back down, start opening up some of the holes in bottom garage. Silent will take just an inkling of damage, about 35 HP overall, repelled on that plat. Well, no, actually, he's outside that garage door. Crossed it again, it is now at 25. Probably not the best decision, takes even more damage. You know, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say at engagement number 2, maybe bringing out your AK-12 and not sprinting around with the pistol in front of every open hole would have been the smarter move, but either way, what's done is done, and now, you know, one of your main hard breachers, aside from the Maverick, is on 1 HP. That, in and of itself, is a risk factor that cannot be ignored.
Yeah, in the way that Survey Core are currently set up, you have a lot of pressure over towards Garage that aggro are going to be trying to break down. When Nitro Cell goes out, and there goes Ashton. Unfortunately for the defenders, it wasn't quite the Maverick they were looking for, but Ashton has been a great player. The spearhead of the aggro attack, getting a lot of frags on that. Zofia will fall early. Now they're going to have to fight back on that man advantage, and the first shots going on the top of Raptors is Axe feeling a lot of pressure. He's masterfully weaving his way behind these two different slabs of metal, just peeking here and there, isolating out his engagements and slowly killing way more time, but Asian's gonna sneak up on him and take his head right off, evening up the man count at 4-4.
The one thing that Aggro might not be accounting for, though, is Rift on Garage Raptors as well. Now he's a 3-1, not exactly the fastest thing, and if he's just sitting prone, the Peeker's advantage going in the favor of Snorn will easily come away with that engagement. Takes him down. That's Garage Raptors firmly in control of the attack, but there's a bit of a difference as well. There's no rotate hole in between sites. Both are reinforced. And now that Silent no longer has any Selma charges, if you want to open that up, you would have to rotate kicks over, and that's a bit of a risky position. So their only way of making an execute come from that direction would be to vault through the window, and that's not exactly the easiest engagement to take. If you want one of the attackers jumping in through there. Pixel's also rotated down for the C4 from below, but there's plenty of tracers and Z-pings to indicate that the attackers know his position down there. So he's got to be extremely careful if he wants to try to deny the plant. But because of these reinforcements and Kix deciding that he will try to open a hole, this is wasting a fair bit of time, especially even more now that he's messed up the hole. I think it's just a bit too small. Either way, Pixel gets a kill onto Asian. It's a 3v3. C4 down below. Pre-placed will go off. Not find purchase on any attacker. But Kix just once again made the hole too small. He's got to jump in on 25 HP. Got to get the plant down as well. Evil Eye not destroyed. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is not happening. There we go. Down from below. Pixel with the shotgun. Not able to be taken out. And Survey Corps looked a bit shaky on that garage hold, but beyond that, perfect play by Pixel got them that first round.
Yeah, and there was even a mirror window on where you typically would see a rotate hole in between sites that just kind of never mattered. It was more so to contest the breach, but the breach kind of got opened and that was about it. Typically, you would allocate probably Ashen on the Zofia to sit outside on Plat and just cut any rotations because that M762 is a very powerful rifle that can get some frags and does a lot of damage, but he was silenced early at the hands of a beautifully tossed C4 from, I believe it was Rift on the our window. Yes, my memory's not that bad. I'm glad to hear. But overall, Aggro started off the early round, besides that Nitro kill, looking really strong. They took garage control with absolute authority, and then they stalled out because typically when you expect pushing garage, you're going to have that rotate hole or a soft wall. The Survey Corps were built a little bit different in their site setup by having those double reinforcements, and I think that really threw Aggro for a loop.
Yeah, it was a bit risky just putting Rift there. I mean, sure, having two guys, you could set up a crossfire on rafters, but with his position, that's a hard gunfight to take, especially when Snorn is just brazenly pushing up the stairs. But those reinforcements really were the play. And Rift being there, it didn't buy too much more time, but it bought just enough time where rotating kicks over, and thankfully him messing up the Maverick hole a few times also added to that fact. But overall, the setup just wasted just enough time for Survey Corps to get the edge out there. And then overall, you still had the three members left on the bomb site, still solidly in their position. Overall, good play by Survey Corps in the latter half of that round. Now going to Kitchen, we're seeing Rift bring out this Mira again. Not all that surprising. It's clearly going to be a sticking point of their strategy. He's got the standard Mira on Church Wall to try to contest the back of main stairs, and I'm intrigued to see where he put that last one. Might see it by dummies looking into blue. Not entirely sure, but either way, we can see Aggro. They're going for that kitchen hatch immediately. Makes sense. You know the Cade is gone. You're the team that banned it out. Unless they're going for impact tricking, which, look on the side of Survey Corps. Nobody has impacts as far as the eye can see. That's something you want to immediately go with. Get those hatches because you know they can't be denied and not even have to focus on getting it at a minute 30, minute left. Just wipe it away from your mind and get it over with.
Yeah, now it's going to be a little bit of a battle inside of dirt. Pixel escapes with his life barely, but he's still standing and he's still peeking. He's actually going to be creeping up, knowing under the guise of his moan smoke that he could kind of slow them down just a bit, try to get the sneak on, but there was a drone, the intel gathering device from the attackers, that made it impossible for him to be just a little bit aggressive. Now Kix's drone will fall as well, as Pixel still standing strong. Another Toxic Babe firmed, only wasting about 10 seconds and thrown a little bit early for my liking. But what's even earlier is the double flank coming out of Survey Corps. They want these players that are stacked up inside a kitchen to go down. They don't like the vertical pressure that's being employed, but now Kix will fall inside of dirt to Pixel. The smoke's still standing strong.
Yeah, that smoke inside of dirt can be a hell of a thing to push out, and Asian will take a hell of a lot of HP as well, but he manages to fell the smoke. Used some Toxic Babes and wasted a fair bit of time, but taking down Asian to low HP and taking down Kix, sure, you're dead, but he has done quite a bit of damage to the attack. I don't know if Axe has rotated back down. I know that Lava did rotate back down, no longer on those main stairs. No, there we go. He's inside CC, rotating down a garage. We found where he is. Looks like he's going for a rotate down oil pit to hold blue. And despite the fact that Aggro managed to open up kitchen hatch pretty early, they have since stalled out, focusing a lot on getting that self-destruction, which is necessary. But look at the push they're setting up right now. Two members all held outside kitchen drop, silent on the rappel, watching the flank. An Asian on 1 HP, but still manages to find the head of Axe. Snorn goes for the drop, going in default, will go for the plant, but Spiff finds the angle just a bit too quickly. Lava as well doubles on for action. Now it's a 2v3. Silent will have to get off that angle as Ashen finds an angle of his own. With the diffuser dropped in sight and only 25 seconds left, and only seemingly a kitchen drop at their disposal unless Silent, choosing to rotate over to Dirt, wants to go for a pinch that way. This is going to be a tough fight to try and come away with for either member of the attacking team. Ashen will manage to get down, but he'll get taken down as well. Spiff finds him. Silent loses a lot of HP again, put down to 1. Rift puts him in the grave soon after. Cerbercore pick up their second round, and so far, it's been those 3 remaining members on the bomb site to seal out the round for the team.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier on that Survey Corps with the Mira, that's going to be a common theme in their defenses. And so far, the only thing I can see being common on Aggro's attacks has been the stalling out towards the mid to late round. Their early round has looked really great. They've taken the map control that they needed, they've pushed through, gotten a pick here and there, and started setting up for their executes, but then they just seem to have lost the direction. They don't have somebody that's been able to step up and really just kick open the door that they already have cracked on the side of Survey Corps' defenses, and that has been the main killer that has led for the 2 rounds in a row for Survey Corps' defense. If anybody on Aggro was able to just step up, Ashen on the second entry has been relatively quiet. He's at 0-2 right now. He's their player that typically is the one to just swing. He's the one to get momentum and allow the Aggro attackers to slowly build up and make Survey Corps uncomfortable. And with him being relatively silent, they've struggled.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the Hibana ban as well, and this will get into what I'm going to mention a little bit later, the Hibana ban the Hibana being in play allows for a lot more versatility on the attack. You can open up pretty much every hatch with ease, and then beyond that, you're good, whether you want to bring an Ace or a Maverick, whatever. But with only Ace and Maverick, the 2 big things you're going to be going with are hatches. Kick's going to focus, probably get 1, 2 hatches, and then Silent, if he wants to get a third, he's got to use 2 of his Soma charges, and at that point, he's only got 1 left, and previously he used it on Dirt, which did get an entry, eventually, though.
Yeah, but it was a 1-for-1 trade.
Exactly, it was a 1-for-1 trade, and Aggro's pushes have been really one-dimensional. Because they can't use that Hibana, they've solely been relegating to themselves on one-dimensional pushes, whether it be pushing in through garage, pushing down kitchen hatch with one guy pushing in through dirt. The moment one of their legs collapses or meets the fair bit of resistance, they just completely stall out, and now you're on gym, where one of the main pushes comes from CCTV and cash, and that's one of the fundamental elements, is that one-dimensional push. I'm worried for how the rest of their attacking strats are going to be if they struggle with it in every other bomb site.
Yeah, so far we haven't seen any flanking occurring by Survey Corps. They've been a little bit more reserved, but with a team like Aggro continuously stalling out, you're going to continuously leave yourself open. But just like that,
okay.
Spiff gets opened up. I mean, a bullet straight to the head will get rid of him quickly, and Lava taking a lot of damage from the breach opened up by Silence Selma charge. He's trying to hold on to construction, but he is limping. He's barely on any HP, and make that 0 as Asian's going to pick up his second kill. 2 entries for the price of none so far, as Aggro affirmatively takes a lot of map control and are starting to pressure the backside in conjunction with a little bit of stock pressure.
I mean, you can thank Lava and Spiff for that one, just peeking out, whether it's cache doorway or construction window, and giving themselves up. And Lava was in a bit of a rough position, I will say, but still, Spiff just sprinting out that doorway probably wasn't the play overall. But Silent has been taken out. That's one of your only hard breaches, and Kix has already shown to struggle a little bit on the Maverick. So, taking him off the board is a good way to try to swing things back in your favor. Rift got that kill, I do believe, and Rift's already showed to be pretty solid so far on that Vector with the C4 as well. In a 4v3, this isn't out of Survey Corps' favor with the way they have been playing. Jacuzzi wall will be open, so that's one avenue for Aggro to push on through, but there's only a minute left. Slowly, time is dwindling down, and we've seen how hard they can stall once it reaches that point. Pixel still strongly behind a mirror window. Axe takes control of Logi, gets a kill, but gets refragged by Kix. So you don't gain that man advantage for long, but a nice spray from Pixel will find the head of the Maverick on the entry. 2v2, Asian on the entry into the site gets put down, and Ashen, who's 0-2 so far, has got to clutch a 1v2 to try and get his team the very first round. A round that looked really strong, but might just end in a 3v5 clutch overall for Survey Corps. Knows the diffuser's outside, so it's within his capacity to pick it back up. 20 seconds left. He doesn't exactly have the time. He might just have to commit, and he commits to the angle, but he's aiming a bit too high. Rift takes his head clean off. And Survey Corps, they've completed the flawless cycle so far.
Yeah, they've looked really good while doing so. And I think the most worrying thing for Aggro's attack is the fact that Mira has been brought all 3 rounds on defense, and they have not destroyed a single Mira window.
Yeah.
You have the ace. You have the capability to have that ranged hard breach. You just throw a Selma on the window and it's going to go down. But they haven't done so. Silent kind of gets his first breaching on and then dies, which is a little bit worrying considering he's typically the diffuser carrier and you want him to stay alive for your inevitable execute. And plus, as well, the AK-12 is a wonderful weapon and is really great to have towards the latter half of rounds when people line up and, people are already lit up. You have somebody on 40 HP and he's a 2-tap to the leg or like a 1.5 shot to the body. And you can really make some magic happen towards that way. But with him falling early, you're also losing your capability of your kind of crutch on your execute with the smoke canisters that he has to block vision. Sure, there have been a lot of nitro cells being brought every single round for Survey Corps' defense, but you at least want to make them have to use their utility instead of just sitting behind the mirror windows, having all the information in the world and never feeling any sort of pressure.
Thankfully for Aggro, Survey Corps opting not to bring that mirror window a second time. Instead, they've rotated Rift to the Malusi, and previously on this bomb site, Spiff was playing Malusi. Now he's on Wamai. Likely see him holding Garage alongside Axe on the Aggro, at the very least, contributing to the amount of utility within Garage. They've also changed their setup in tandem. No longer is the Garage wall, I was about to say like CC to Garage wall, but I was like, that sounds kind of clunky. The Garage wall to those rafters, no longer double reinforced. It's got the standard head holes in it. So already a couple factors that were the biggest issue for Aggro, being the mirror windows, and specifically on this CC bomb site, the double reinforcements in Garage, no longer a factor. This is a much more, or the ability to be much more of a standard take of this bomb site, if they choose to. With how they've been playing, that might actually prove to their benefit unless Survey Corps makes some more adjustments in their actual play within the round as opposed to their strategy.
Yeah, the way that Aggro needs to take this is do everything that you did last time, except where you stalled out is going to be just that bit more easy. Kicks, once again, doing his best on the wall. It's Swiss cheese, making it more difficult for him, but a little bit of soft reaching from the hammer of the sledge that Snoring is packing still makes it doable. It's a little bit slow, but, getting a Maverick breach is just kind of standard. You're going to do what you're going to do. But now he actually sees his leg and it's going to be shot out. His roof just hits an absolute freebie. So now you can't really breach anything more, maybe on the construction backside that you would have liked to do. But if there's a mute jammer on it, you got to nade it away. And now the one-dimensional push that we harped on Aggro for last time is slowly turning a little bit more complex as it goes into the second dimension.
You do have Ashen on con windows, so there was a bit of not flank watch, but a bit, holding a crossfire, making sure that nobody rotates over. But with a lack of solid flat wall control and Garage still in their favor, going for a construction push is going to be pretty difficult because at that point the defenders just have to fire on in, and it's going to be a big issue. But Snorin, he's considered that. Rotated over, found Spiff standing up inside of rafters, managed to take him down. Lava as well, low HP, will manage to find just a little bit of the impact grenade. The Selma charge will go off as it was placed a bit too low for the impact grenades of Lava to find any real purchase. Snorin's bullets continue to find purchase of their own. Axe, the other member of Garage, Rafters falls soon after, and oddly enough, we talked about how Aggro in the final minute of the round seemed to stall out. The biggest amount of their progress has been happening in this final minute. Garage Rafters cleared, Lava halts it a little bit, finds one more member, but there you go. On the push, and Ashen finds one, finds his second, his first 2 kills of the round, and Snorin with a third. He gets a triple. And I guess they just decided, you know what, guys? Let's just stop stalling out. We'll push in the final minute, and we'll just kill all of them.
Yeah, Ashen hit the Thanos speech, said, fine, I'll do it myself, just jumps in CC window and gets 2 kills. I know you're probably going to be upset, but, correlation does equal causation. So statistically speaking, if Ashen gets a kill, then they win the round. That's easy as that.
I think you would find a fair bit of statisticians to disagree with that, but then again, you are the engineering major. What do I know?
Yeah, you're a pre-law.
That's true. That's true. Dude, I can read, but my numeracy is just in the toilet. I look at numbers.
Who said I'm good at math? I do the same thing, and I'm an engineering major, so maybe we're not that different. After all, we both talk about video games, so 2 sides of the same coin. But now we're going to be going downstairs. It's the basement bomb site as it once again rears its ugly head for Aggro's attacking side. They're going to look to take Dirt with a little bit more authority. You don't want to give that 1-for-1 trade, as well as burn away probably 2 minutes worth of time that Pixel was able to just stall out. Sure, Asian did eventually get that pick and was able to kind of hold that cross, make sure that Spiff and Rift over towards the, or no, it was, pardon me, it was Lava on box 2 and Axe rotating in on the backside of Blue. Kind of couldn't do anything. But after kind of the stall occurred inside a kitchen, the failed hatch drop, and the execute falling flat on its face, Aggro weren't in a great spot. This time they don't have the Mira, so that makes pushing main and establishing another crossfire to cut rotations all that little bit easier, and even opens up the possibility for them to push Blue or drop Moto and go for a church execute as opposed to an Arsenal one.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious as to why Survey Corps have opted to not bring that Mira. I mean, sure, I get you don't want to run
It
the
worked.
exactly. It worked 3 times in a row, and I get it. You know, you don't want to run the same strat multiple times in a row. I totally understand that, but again, it worked. And with Mira strats, they're not exactly, well, they tend to not be the most complex things on the planet, at least in practice. You just, if you have your 2 Mira window spots, and I mean, also let's be honest with ourselves, the spots Survey Corps were putting those Miras weren't exactly crazy. You had one on Church Wall and one in Blue. That's basically where you put both of your Mira windows. I don't know. I'm still a bit worrisome about the change, especially since the first round they had it gone was the first round they lost. Axe, at least on the other hand, he's bringing impact grenades, and that's going to be a much bigger trouble for for Aggro this go around, because if you remember previously, they got the kitchen hatch open pretty easily because of that fact. But now, Axe and the impact grenades has destroyed a couple Selma charges on Silent. Sure, Goyo Shield's destroyed, but Survey Corps have wasted infinitely more utility in the long run than Aggro has.
Yeah, they have 2 players on Dirt, and I think Asian's going to be the one taking a gunfight first. There's a player swinging out from Blue and one on box 1 who's ready, and a near headshot almost finds its way through the wall. But now it'll just be yellow pings gathering information as Axe is feeling a little bit of pressure and might be pinched from the back stairs. Another almost headshot lineup, but you know, they can't see the outlines, I hope. That's why we have Moss. I hope they don't see the outlines that we can see, but you know, I mean, it is quals after all, you never really know, but most likely from 2 respected teams such as Aggro and Survey Corps don't want to throw any of those wonderful accusations. But with only a minute left to go, it's still a 5v5, and that means that this execute that's looming ahead is definitely shaping up to be pretty hectic.
Ashen will start off a potentially hectic execute with a little bit of a quiet entry, not checking his corners. That I've clearly forgot his lessons from Modern Warfare 2, so that's a bit unfortunate. And already it's a 2v2. Asian on the entry, getting 2 of his own. Overall, it's a 1v2 effectively. Pixel down on the floor, but Lava still remaining inside the site. Managed to spot Silent, but now he's got to fight Asian, the man who, by all metrics, has been doing the most for Aggro, but he's not doing the most this round, as you can clearly see on your screen. And Axe even says it. Lava's gifted. He's built different. And he got Survey Corps, their 4th round.
Yeah, I mean, what was that, a 4K from him or just a 3K?
I think it was a 3K.
Yeah, I think it might have been a
think it was
3K. But yeah, I mean, still, SMG-11 hits different sometimes. It either hits or it doesn't. It's one of those weapons that sometimes you get taken along for the wild ride of recoil, but if your crosshair placement is as apt as Lava's was that round, it's going to lead you to quite a few kills. Now he's feeling so confident that he's going to go ahead and switch onto the Jaeger. Definitely a lot easier of a weapon to use, and he's going to try to use his fragging prowess on a more entry-level roaming role, where, you know, he's going to be the first line of defense as opposed to the last one. And for the side of Aggro, that might be a little bit worrying, considering that they did struggle a little bit going towards the front side of last round. They got their picks over towards CCTV, which, you know, that's a good step in the right direction. That's the first part of your checklist as you're going to be going down for the Aggro attackers. They're going to be like, hey, let's open up Jacuzzi Wall. Let's take construction and CCTV. They're going to be impact tricking, whatever, do your breaching, all those shenanigans, get kills, and then try to execute on towards site. What they didn't count for was that Rift brought a Mira last time and was able to completely lock down the Jacuzzi Wall. A big flurry of kills kind of went over towards that side of the map because they walked into a Mira window, which understandably not the best idea to go for, but you know, they did it nonetheless. And for the side of Aggro's attack this time, I hope that they've changed things up, considering you can go down below and definitely put some pressure on the Mira sitting inside a bathroom. That's a little known fact that a lot of people don't really go and think about. That yes, you can destroy some of bathroom from down below, and it's not necessarily the strongest position, but you do have to take a good, decent bit of map control through that, and if there's roamers, if there's people off site, it can make things a little bit more difficult.
Silent will thankfully be able to use his gadget a bit easier this round, as he's not the opening pick yet. He'll use a Selma charge to open up the single construction panel. Again, makes sense, nothing all that crazy so far, but where I'm intrigued to see where the change will actually come out is how Survey Corps handled those opening duels, because previously, it wasn't so much, you know, a 50-50 engagement going the way of Aggro. It was a fair bit of Spiff and Lava kind of giving themselves up. It was a bit questionable about whether or not they could do, you know, more, or whether them dying was a foregone conclusion. But if Spiff actually manages to hold on to CCTV a bit longer, doesn't just get killed walking out of the main doorway, I don't know if Aggro really have the stones to handle it. First frag grenade will sail on in, destroy a mute jammer, but Spiff is backed up, not in the position to get blown up by it. He'll use his impact grenade to great effect as well. That's a Selma charge taken down, only one more in the pocket of Silent, or things could go horribly wrong. A C4 almost goes incredibly right for Pixel. It does about 75 HP worth of damage to Asian, but the biggest impact is still coming from Spiff with these impacts, because that was Silent's last Selma charge.
Yeah, now they're gonna be forced to run in through doorways, which is what was the absolute bane of Aggro's existence last time just a few rounds ago. But they're also going to have to really worry about the Survey Corps defenders that managed to find their way back onto site. The extension of the horizontal variety worked. It killed away 2 minutes of clock. It chewed it all up, and so far, Survey Corps now is just bolstering up their site defense. That's the only bit of map control that really matters, because you can establish all your crossfires. There's so many angles that can be covered, so many different things that you have to take into account for Aggro when they try to just jump in and push site, that it's going to be insanely difficult for them to go towards this execute. Snoran swinging on into Logi is actually going to fall down. There's a refrag from Silent, but will he get the second as well? Yes, he will. Axe will fall as the Maestro, the 81, gets Silent ahead of this execute.
Lucy's being a bit less than Silent, unfortunately, for Ashen, and that is likely what led to his death. Spiff takes him down. Rift got a kill before that and kicks soon after, and we once again find ourselves in a familiar 2v2. Silent's gotten 2 kills so far on the entry, but he's on 25 HP, and Kix is also about to take control of the bomb site right behind him. And how do you come away with that, Kix? Mid-reload animation, finds the head of Pixel. Now it's just Spiff left in a 1v2. He manages to get one through the wall, but his aim is a bit too shoddy on that last one. Aggro managed to claw back a 2-4 half, and honestly, what probably should have been a 5-1 for Survey Corps.
Wow.
That was...
I thought he got a headshot. I thought he got a headshot on the Maverick. I feel like he was a little bit robbed, but at the end of the day, Kix had a hell of a round, to say the least. Getting that kill on main stairs, beautifully placed shot. And then picking up the last kill, where I definitely thought maybe the defender should have came away with it. But, you know, sometimes the game says no, but it definitely said yes for the Maverick of Kix. And now a 4-2 split. That's exactly what you expect on a clubhouse attack, and hopefully for Aggro's sake, they're feeling a little bit more comfortable on their defensive side, where now they get to be the ones bringing the Mira. They don't have to push into it anymore. They now are on the quote-unquote offensive, even though they're on the defensive side.
Yeah, and I imagine we'll see Silent put those mirrors in similar positions to where we saw Rift put them in on their defensive half. We also see Ashen on the Vigil. Didn't see him at all on Survey Corps' side. That certainly indicates we're going to be seeing a bit more aggressive play, probably more akin to what we saw from Survey Corps in that initial basement defense. If you recall, both Pixel and Axe playing on those main stairs, one coming up from the bottom, other coming from the top. I imagine we'll see Ashen and Asian work in a similar fashion, maybe a different position, but overall the same strategy. I'm interested to see how Survey Corps handles or reconciles with these mirror windows, because one's already on Church and the other's likely on Blue in Survey Corps. Now, keep in mind, I'm not as familiar with the names on the side of Aggro. They could be more experienced than I'm giving them credit for.
They're console switchovers.
How recent? I know I know Asian's a console switchover, but how recent are we talking?
I think within 6 months.
Okay, so
not like oh my gosh, I switched over last week. They're still rank stars. Like you see
they're
Snoring and Asian on a stack, you're canceling the queue.
They didn't switch over last week. They're like, you know what, guys, let's play SCS quals. Let's see how this goes. So I was just making sure. But on the side of Survey Corps, you generally have more, you know, PC comp experience, and after all, it's a fairly default strat. I think they might be able to handle it a bit better. And already Axe on the entry, handling it pretty well. Quietly walked into Blue. Knows that there's probably one behind Jed, but Ashen's inside of CCTV and Cash. And because he's Vigil, could navigate away from those drones. He'll let out a few traces, so at the very least, his presence is known to the Ash.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, The roam clear is a little bit more difficult on a bomb site such as basement, especially because, you know, there's things called the SSG roam where you can have everybody off site and it's still just as viable. But even a solo roamer, as a visual of Ashen, can still dodge between the intel gathering devices of the defenders and try to dodge the bullets just as much, wasting away time and slowly just making his great escape. But he's going to be walking right into the crosshair of someone else. My feed is buffering just a little bit, so it's hard. But yes, Ashen did fall. Spiff got a kill. Good job for him. That's the entry going to the favor of Survey Corps' attack.
Yeah, that was kind of a rough position for the Vigil to find himself in. I mean, you saw he was just trapped in that corner. Ash and Zofia both coming at him from opposite directions. He had put himself in a rough spot and one that, in all likelihood, there was no chance for him to get out of. And sure, Survey Corps, they're happy about that. Happy they got that kill, but the Vigil still did waste about 1 minute and 20 seconds, and that's a fair bit. Sure, you lost a body, but in terms of time, only now are Survey Corps starting to get these hatches. You can see Rift working on that blue hatch, also working on the kitchen hatch all across the map. Really, any of those hatches, you can probably bet that they're working on. So it's a bit worrying for Survey Corps. They're running out of time for what they all want to do. Focus on this soft destruction, play that vertical pressure, and with not a lot of time to do it, the defense starting to set up in their positions. It's a bit worrisome. You also have that C4 in the pocket of Silent, who not only has a mirror window, but a deployable shield behind it as well. I mean, that's a main stairs C4 waiting to happen. At a moment's notice, it'll ring out and blow at anybody pushing down those stairs sky high.
Yeah, but now it's a 4v5 situation, only 35 left on the clock, and Survey Corps needs to get moving, and it's probably going to be Axe taking the first little bit of aggression. Silent, a little bit of damage on the other side going out as the Survey Corps attackers line up on main stairs. Like you mentioned, very susceptible to that C4, but still putting in pressure nonetheless. That's Lava swinging out, but he's actually going to get fried by Silent. A beautiful headshot coming out of the Vector, but it's Rift going absolutely huge, and it's Axe with the second as well. Double kill. Survey Corps take the round 7 going into their favor as they extend their lead 5-2. That round kind of just blew up at a moment's notice.
So 4v5, 40 seconds left, approximately 40 seconds left. Survey Corps, they do have the man advantage. They're like, we just got the hatches. Lava, you just got done with all your vertical destruction. Crap. We do not have a lot of time to set up and execute. And even Pixel on the ace, rotated down, got those 2 Selma charges, but Silent was still sitting behind that shield and even fried somebody in Moto. And at that point, they're in a 4v4 and they're like, what do we do? And Axe and Rift were like, guys, I'm gonna make a play. And they did. They each killed 2 people respectively. There was strategy to that, but it's not like, they were going for a plan. It was excellent crossfire. It was Axe just pushing down blue in the final 30 seconds and Rift pushing in through Moto and down main stairs and finding 2 guys each. And sometimes when you have great fraggers on a team, again, Lava, Rift, Axe, really everybody on the side of Survey Corps, not only is a pretty good fragger, they're all doing their jobs fairly equally in this matchup so far. There's a greater probability you can make plays like that happen. And if things in the round are starting to go wrong, being, time management and map control, for an example, having players that can make that happen, it is a gift whose value is invaluable.
Exactly. I mean, Survey Corps, it didn't look good. It was not a good position, especially because your main soft breacher and your ability to get in towards the soft walls that you made over on the church triple fell. Lava was so close to hitting the headshot onto Silent, but then they still had enough utility on the defensive side to stop any plant. They had 2 nitro cells in their back pocket and enough people to cover pretty much all the crosses. But then you have the intangible factor of the Axe in Lava, or pardon me, the Axe just kind of run in and kill everybody effect. Huge. Like, you can't undersell that point. It's just one of those things that you don't expect, and it happened at a moment's notice. It was like flicking on a light switch, and all of a sudden, Aggro were dead before they even knew what happened. For them, once again, their early and mid-round were so good. But it seems like Survey Corps are just a little bit more comfortable on the backside of the rounds, the latter half. And, sometimes that's a little bit more important and impressive.
We'll see if that trend continues a second time. Aggro have decided to go to basement a second time. Haven't made many changes in their lineup either, but Ashen went for a C4 and unfortunately didn't find much. Did a little bit of damage to Lava, but overall, that's one of your 2 nitro cells that have gone to waste within the first minute of the round. Thankfully, you do still have Silent. Wasn't able to use it as effectively last time, but that's still a factor that you can count on in your favor, and Ashen's even still deciding to contest it. This is a bit of a risky play. You can often catch the Sledge or the Buck off guard, but in a situation like that, As I was about to say, it's not going to go your way, but they both missed all of their shots, so now Ashen can just walk away for free, chill over by Dirt, and anticipate, hopefully, a potential push coming out from Pixel or anybody later on in the round.
Yeah, the Dirt pressure is one of those things that it's finding the fine line between aggression and passivity, where you need people to feel your pressure and know that they can't rotate for free to try to stop the hatch drop plan. That is most likely lining up to be in the cards for Survey Corps' attack. You know, it's a little bit of an audible on their side. Instead of pushing Blue and Moto, they're definitely putting a lot more pressure over towards the main kind of default hatch drop execute. Axe, once again, tucking tail and running out of Dirt. His team's probably decided that his utility is better suited elsewhere. Maybe the backside flank on Blue once again, as now Snorin takes so much damage, only about 1 HP to his name, and he still has a dream of trying to hold back the brunt of the aggression of the Survey Corps attackers.
Right now, Lava pushing down main stairs. Similar position to last time. Asian's also holding a tight angle inside of Blue as Spiff pushing down. Pixel on the kitchen drop. This is where he'll be pushing from. Drop the smoke, but it got ADS, but thankfully the coverage is there to distract enough. Axe is a distraction himself, getting 2 kills. Pixel might just be able to successfully get the plant down. He might not even have to end the round that way, though, as Axe got 3 kills. He'll finish the plant nonetheless. There goes Kicks falling soon after. Pixel coming off the plant, gunning him right in the back. Now Silent in 1v3, no C4, and the Vector not exactly being the best for these kind of situations. Survey Corps, they're on match point 6-2.
Yeah, and they are looking really good. They've shown that they can take the downstairs bomb site in 2 different ways. You have your main and Blue push, and then you have the very, very default, put 1 player here on bottom main, put 1 player in Dirt, 1 in Blue, and then drop 2 down the hatch. And they've done it both ways, and it's looked very good both ways. I'm going to keep on saying that, but at the end of the day, we can kind of stop talking about basement because that's no longer the bomb site that Aggro are going to be defending. Instead, they're going to go to the secondary bomb site for them, sometimes the primary for others, but regardless, it's the second floor CCTV and cache. The bomb site that Aggro looked a lot better attacking, so maybe they're... I just lost my complete train of thought because of Axe in chat at the beginning of the half.
He's not wrong.
He is definitely not wrong, because at the start of round 7 he goes, man, it's not my day, and a couple rounds later goes, never mind, I'm just an Ashe player.
I mean,
you know,
he did get a double, and then
oh no, he was 2-6. He was 2-6. Now he's 7-6.
Did he get a?
Yeah, you got a
triple that first
3K.
round?
Yeah, you got a double 3. You got a double 3K.
Okay. For whatever reason, I thought Spiff got that kill on the Vigil up top in that very first round. Either way.
Oh wait, no, Spiff did. No, so he was 2. He got 5 kills. He got a double the first defensive round, and then he got triple last round. He got 1, 2, and 3 last round, and then.
Point being.
Yeah.
Axe is good.
Yeah, Axe is playing pretty well.
That's the broad
PogChamp fears him. PogChamp fears him on Coastline.
I thought you meant the emote, and I was really confused as to why you brought that up. But you meant the team. Okay.
Yes.
I was like, what does that have to? Oh wait, that's a team. Because
we literally already talked about him in the pre-show. Axe is a world eater, man.
You have to keep in mind, okay? Like when I'm casting, like if it's 15 minutes old and not about the game, just it's out. It's not in my head. I like, if you asked me, like if I'm in a real intense cast, like a grand finals, like what my birthday is, I probably would just have an anxiety attack. I'd freak out at the prospect of having to name it. But either way, that's beside the point. My own personal flaws. Not the biggest problem. Lava on the roam clear, you can see, opening up that jacuzzi wall. Not sure if anybody's directly or far roaming off the site like we saw Ashen do in the very first basement defense. And I mean, after how poorly it went that time, I think that's probably the better adaptation. And yeah, 4 guys on the bomb site, 2 in red, 2 in CCTV. I don't know how Ashen didn't just die there, but hey, good on you. You put Axe down to 1 HP, and well, we just got done talking about how good he is.
Yeah, I mean, a single bullet going into any part of his body will send him down, and he has been the one that's kind of putting the team on his back for Survey Corps' attack. But now, speaking of backs, that's the backside pressure coming from Pixel. Gonna drop down the Malusi of Snorin, remove a Nitro Cell, and a pretty good performer on the side of Aggro's team down early. You know, it's not the worst position for Aggro to be in. They can definitely still bounce back. They have a lot of utility still spread. Neither of the walls have been breached by the attackers. And Asian is still alive inside of Rafters, holding off on that crossfire that makes it very difficult to push in from the construction door. And now, Asian just absolutely obliterates Rift, and he's going to be going for more, but that's a little bit ill-advised because Spiff has the superior angle. That's a headshot going out of Zofia once again, and keeping the man count advantage firmly into Survey Corps' side.
And we're seeing a similar problem that Aggro experienced. The Selma charge is easily being impact grenaded by the Maestro inside. I actually think he managed to get that one off, so not nearly as much of a problem anymore, and he even works the angle and finds a kill onto Silent, but Ashen is rotated down. Has a C4 in hand, he'll throw it up, pre-placed, not detonating it just yet. That means Kix is all alone. Actually, now they're both, but they're only on red stairs. And with SMG-11s and now a C4 that's gone wide, it's gonna be hard to resist this site pressure. Kix will find the head of Axe, so there goes your main entry taken down, but he was already on 1 HP. He was not the biggest character in this fight. Now Lava finds one, he might prove to be that protagonist. And with Ashen no C4, he's got to go for the gunfights, and the SMG-11 not proving well for him in any way, shape, or form. It's 3 rounds in a row on their attacking half to end this for Survey Corps, and they stay in for just a bit longer as Aggro's hopes pretty much gone at this point.
Yeah, and really unfortunate for them, as I mean, I guess it would take a miracle run and a little bit of help from other teams choking out. They no longer control their own destiny to a certain extent. It is still possible for them to qualify, but you know, it's definitely a gigantic uphill battle. You know, they're going to be trying to climb Mount Everest in only their socks, and not the position that they want to be in. And for Survey Corps,
that analogy before.
You know, I brought it up on the fly.
Fair enough.
You know, we make those, we take those. But it's definitely looking really strong for them. And at the end of the day, was a good game. I think a lot closer than the 7-2 scoreline did indicate. Most of those rounds came to 1v1s, 1v2s, and just kind of really late executes. But it was just the experience of Survey Corps being put onto full display and was able to just kind of take that extra step, just the couple of inches more that was separating all these rounds. And when that happens consistently, it starts to steamroll, and that's how you get score lines like this. Even though I would say it was probably a 7-4 kind of game, still definitely close, maybe around here, around there, could have gone into either team's favor. Maybe the entire outcome of the match could have been different, but that's in a parallel universe, and we don't really care about those. All that really matters is Survey Corps are going to be pounding through the top bracket once again, looking to try to qualify.
Yeah, and I mean, on the side of Axe, we saw those 2 basement rounds on attack, how he can be that X factor and just get the kills necessary and do the work necessary to make it work for his team and manage to get the round. So going forward into the tournament, that's definitely, well, he is definitely going to be one of the biggest reasons for Survey Corps to try to make it. Now then again, if it's true, and maybe today's not his day and he's just an Ash player, could be a bit more spotty. Could be a bit riskier for the team overall, but I have confidence that he seems a bit more heated up now. Probably going to be a bit better in the long run. But CNAPS, want to talk about the bracket a bit? You know, see anything that has happened while we have been here? Because I'm pulling it up as we speak. I'm
pulling it up as we speak as well. You know, exclamation point bracket in the chat. I don't know if any other games have quite finished, but we are in round 7.
We have finished a couple. Aerial Arise versus Imperium. Which one do you think won that?
You know, I'm going to guess Aerial Arise because it was 7-1.
You would... Okay, well, he's looking at the results.
I'm looking at it. It's not as impressive.
That just ruined the whole...
But you know, there's still other games, you know, exclamation point multi in chat that brings you up to the 3 rounds. You know, we've got Solar Flare CL as well as 9-Ball Esports. Their games are still going on. I think I can look up what games that they had.
I will say, it's probably not being streamed, but that Project Neo Honor game, it's as we said, it's mainly just for seeding. I believe it's on 9-Ball Esports. I'm actually just getting word. So if it's getting streamed on there, you definitely want to go check in and check the results, as I'm sure
that's a game I wanted. I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it, but
typing it as we speak. Are you looking up 9-Ball? Can you tell me if you are?
It's 9-Ball Esports.
I was just asking if you were. So I didn't. I didn't look at it. Okay, well, it's not.
Can you tell that we are just insanely organized, Carter? I wonder if they can tell at home.
Aerial
Arise. Okay, so Imperium Aerial Arise was on FSCL, so that was a quick one. They're going to be on break just like us. And then 9-Ball Esport has Dallas Vendetta against... I can't read. Against Goofy Goobers. There we go. You know, that's a fun name.
I mean, I guess I want Goofy Goobers to win, but I don't
yeah.
know. I'm gonna be honest with you, I have no attachment to that series. But either way, it is going on, so check the results, see what's happening. I don't think either of those teams are ranked particularly high. I think Dallas Vendetta is in the teens.
Yeah, they're mid-tier. They're mid-tier. They have the chance, you know, pretty much all these games. There's a possibility. Yeah, so you're telling me there's a chance?
Dallas Vendetta is 22, Goofy Goobers are 21. So
that's actually a good game.
Almost tied.
Yeah,
Or
both of those teams.
it's
I
a good
mean,
game, and that's fairly
pretty
close.
much every single game here is kind of, if you lose, you're done. It's very, very
Listen,
cutthroat.
That's the beauty of the Swiss
I
format.
love
Okay,
Swiss.
Swiss format is great.
Swiss
I just love it.
Mwah, love it.
I mean, the country, but the format, great. Either way,
You don't like skiing? You don't like chocolate?
listen, just we can get into the Swiss another time. We will be going for a break. Don't go anywhere, I promise. Whatever matchup's going to be next, it's going to be a big one. As remember, all of these matches, they are deciders. Check out 9 Ball Esports while we are gone, while we're taking a break. Don't go anywhere, I promise.